The NAACP is holding their national convention in Houston right now, and I don't care what anybody says about me. I don't care what anybody tries to claim. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. It needs to be stopped. Why do we still have a National Association for the Advancement of Colored People? Why is Mitt Romney going to speak to them? If you want to speak to Americans, then damn it, speak to Americans. Stop going and speaking to people who have admitted that all they care about is their one race. You're not one of them, Romney. You're not one of them. Any group that is excited about Eric Holder coming to speak is a group of people that you ought not want to speak in the first place. Ridiculous. All they're doing is running around claiming racism everywhere. That's all this group does. It's made up of a bunch of people who are perpetual victims, a bunch of people who want to criticize everybody else, a bunch of people who want to get hired and promoted and paid more and work less because they're black. Well, I'm sick of it. You're an American. You're the luckiest 1% in the world. Make the most of it. If you want to work your butt off like everybody else is, you can probably get ahead. If you don't, then shut up about it. I don't care about slavery. I don't care about Jim Crow. I wasn't part of it, and neither were you. You weren't a victim, and I wasn't a beneficiary of it. I didn't own slaves, and you weren't one. My people are poor. I came up from nothing. I worked my butt off. You know why? Because both of my parents raised me. They made sure I went to school. They whipped my little butt when I needed it. They gave me encouragement when I needed it, and I didn't have anything more than I needed, but I had everything I needed. And I've grown up to be somewhat successful. And you can too. And I'm tired of hearing all of you claim that you're not. I'm sick of it. You want to be a victim? You can be a victim to somebody else, because I don't feel guilty, and I'm tired of subsidizing you, and I'm tired of apologizing to you, and I'm tired of feeling sorry for you. And frankly, I'm tired of watching you have no self-respect. I'm tired of your lack of any dignity. I'm tired of the fact that you embrace common criminals as self-proclaimed black leaders. I'm tired of the nonsense of BET giving a humanitarian award to Al Sharpton when he's destroyed a lot of people's lives. I'm tired of the day-to-day destruction you wreak upon this country. I'm tired of poor black people getting poorer by the day while their supposed leaders are getting rich off of them. I'm tired of Sheila Jackson Lee taking junkets around the world supposedly in the name of black people when all she really wants to do is sit up in the first class and act like some damn queen with the triple crown weave. I'm sick and tired of black people thinking that they're some sort of victim when they're not. And I'm sick and tired of them thinking that I'm somehow getting over on them when I'm not. I work hard. You ought to try it. I work for a living. You ought to try it. I'm responsible for me and my family every day. And if I weren't, we'd fall flat on our face. I get up earlier than you, I work later than you, and I work every damn weekend even when I'm off. I work all the time. I work harder than you, I work smarter than you. And I ain't asking for a handout from anybody. And you ought not either. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. What kind of organization is this? And everybody who's not in the NAACP, you ought to be ashamed of yourself that you haven't taken the rant I just gave and posted it on YouTube. You ought to say, this is what speaks for me. This guy's a leader, not a black leader. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the divisiveness. I'm sick of the third world nature like you're some tribe from some other country. Good grief. You go to the same damn schools. You live in the same country. You drive the same roads, you have the same opportunity. And in most cases, you have the opportunity to move to the front of the class. You got seats being saved for people because they're black. You got special jobs being saved for people because they're black. In the city of Cleveland, you got people that could not pass the exam to be police officers, and they made them police officers anyway because they so desperately needed blacks. Now, that's ridiculous. That's sickening. You ought to be disgusted. If you can't pass the exam, you can't be a cop. Period. We don't need to have affirmative action in the NFL, do we? Because blacks are better than white people at football. Then, by God, be better than white people at everything else. When you're better than everybody else, you'll get hired for stuff. When you're better than everybody else, you'll win stuff. When your business is run better than other people, you'll make more money. Stop asking for handouts and stop electing this nonsense, these idiots like Barack Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Maxine Waters and Charlie Rangel. Every damn one of them's a criminal. Every one of them's a criminal. And you know it. You know it just as well as you can look yourself in the mirror. You know they're criminals. You know they're lying to you. You know they're skimming off the top. You know they're breaking laws. And you know every time they're caught doing it, they're going to claim racism. They're not helping you. They're hurting you. They're setting you back because other people are going to think you're just as stupid as they are because they're stupid and they're criminals and they're corrupt and they're bad for this country, and you know it. We got people living in squalor in Section 8 housing, and we got congressmen coming running in there acting like they're doing something for them, wallowing around like they're pathetic victims. It's the saddest thing ever. It's sad and it's pathetic. You look at what happened in New Orleans. People couldn't take care of themselves. They had a black mayor who turned on the city, didn't take care of the people. Look how many people died. And you want to blame George Bush? Good grief. You think Barack Obama would have been able to help you? You had all these Democrats that have kept you poor forever because you voted for them again and again and again and again. How long is it going to be till people are going to wake up and say, why do we still have an NAACP? Why are they meeting? Why are they sitting around and hooting and hollering in their big hats about how they hate white people? If it's so bad here, then go somewhere where they're not white people. It's the most stupid thing I've ever heard, and we continue to allow this. We got diversity directors at companies. We got diversity directors at universities. We're hiring people and promoting them. We got people committing crimes, and we're blaming the cops because a black person committed a crime because they're somehow... No! You're responsible for your own actions. We're all responsible for our own actions. Every one of you. White people, black people, Hispanic people, I don't care. Slavery, I don't want to hear about it. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. It didn't affect your life. Not one of you. Not one of you listening to me has ever been affected by slavery, and you damn well know it. I'm sick of hearing about it. Stop quoting these buffoons, these absolute common buffoons that you have allowed to call themselves black leaders. I wouldn't allow somebody white to speak for me. I certainly wouldn't allow somebody stupid who was white to run around speaking for me. Somebody didn't graduate from high school and can't spell their own name and has a criminal record a mile long, skimming off the top, flying first class and acting like... I wouldn't allow this nonsense. You ought not either. Have some respect for yourself. Good grief. You are an American. You are the best of the best. You know, blacks go in the military and they rise to the top. Blacks go into sports and they rise to the top. Blacks lay around in Section 8 housing and screw each other and don't raise their babies, leave their children in a world of violence. They grow up in gangs and somehow they're a victim. No! You make bad decisions, you suffer the consequences. You make good decisions, you enjoy and reap the benefits. And when you reap those benefits, you will look back and say, wait a second, why are these crabs in the bucket trying to pull me back into the ghetto? Why do they say these horrible racist things about Clarence Thomas? Why do they say these horrible racist things about Thomas Sowell? Why do they constantly beat down successful black people? Why do they say those horrible things about Condoleezza Rice? Because they cannot stand an independent, meritorious black person. That's a threat to them. You look and see how many people Sheila Jackson Lee has bullied because they are successful on their own. You go and look at how many black business people she has run down and abused and threatened because they are a threat to her very existence. They don't like black independence because they've broken from the herd. They want to keep you on a plantation. That's what the Democratic Party represents, is a plantation for black people. They want every single one of you to keep voting for them, and they'll keep repeating the same old lines, and you're getting poorer by the day. And more blacks are going to prison, and more blacks are losing their jobs, and more blacks are losing their businesses, and more blacks are suffering. And they keep telling you it's Whitey's fault? You know, after a while, you got to start wondering about the definition of insanity. How can you continue to listen to this nonsense? You can't be that stupid. And those of you who know better, I hold you to a higher standard. Those of you who went to school, those of you who run businesses, those of you who work in corporate America, you know that these charlatans are bad for the community. You know what they're doing. You know they've got the preachers in their back pocket, and they've got the activists in their back pocket, and they've got the Democratic Party in their back pocket, and they're all getting rich, and it's hurting you. It's making it harder for you. They're hurting your image. They're making everybody see you as a black person when all you really want to be is an American. And if you're married across racial lines, it's even worse because they're making everybody in your spouse's family think of you as a black person first instead of an American. And we're not going to do away with this nonsense until people stand up and say, call me any name you want. It is time to end the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. We are either Americans or we're not. Now stop it. It's ridiculous. It's stupid, and I'm done with it. These people are divisive, and the NAACP is populated by nothing but racists.